Today I visited a farm called Purpose Farm. Purpose Farm is a farm that is near and dear to my heart. One of my students, Raven, owns the farm along with her family. When you watch this video, I hope that you see the spirituality of Dorothy Day in it, and you'll understand why I thought if you wanted to capture the spirituality of Dorothy Day, then Purpose Farm was the perfect example of it. Okay, so now, which horse is that?
This is Spirit. She was saved from slaughter. She was one that nobody wanted her, and they were down to 2 hours of a deadline, and she would have went on the truck to Mexico. And we had already gotten Michael. He was going to go on the truck to our house, and nobody wanted her. So they said, you know, hey, if we pay for her bail and we give you a 2-for-1 special to have her trailer to your house, will you take her? And I said, you know, what am I going to do, leave her there? Nobody was showing interest in her.
Pay her bail. It really sounds like she's in jail.
Yeah, that's how they do it. It is. You got to bail them out. And so, yeah, I couldn't leave her. I couldn't have that on my head that, you know.
Yeah, I know.
Even though financially we probably shouldn't took her on and time-wise, but, you know, how can you leave her, you know?
Okay, so tell me about what exactly the whole purpose of Purpose Farm is.
Yep.
And so tell me a little about that.
Okay, yep. Purpose Farm's main mission is for youth ages 6 to 18 who have trouble adapting socially. They also have emotional trauma from neglect or abuse. They come to our farm free of charge, and they do a small chore to learn to give back to the community, and then they get to choose what animal they want to work with for the day.
Nice.
So we're really building relationships with these kids. Most of them come from foster care, residential facilities, so they don't have friends or family to count on. So this is somewhere that they can come and they know that we're going to be here for them along with the animals. Our second mission is the animal rescue part of it, and we promote kindness and compassion towards animals, and we live a vegetarian lifestyle. Striving to be vegan, and we like to educate the community about, you know, how farm factories are, and you know, farming nowadays versus old school day farmings are. So
Nice. So when we were talking a moment ago, we were talking about how this is obviously a labor of love, that with, you know, this is a ton of work for you. It's a huge financial, I don't want to use the word burden, but a financial commitment.
right, yeah.
And had you chosen not to do this, you were saying that you had your cleaning business and that you were successful with that. Tell me that story.
Yep. My husband and I, we both own businesses, so we were very successful with that. But we also feel that if we had chose not to do this when God called us to do it, we still wouldn't have been wealthy, because God wouldn't have blessed us, because we would have been out of the will of what we were made to do.
Beautiful.
What to do. So this is Tofu, and he was rescued from slaughter. So you can pet him. Whoa.
Go pet him, Aiden.
Oh yeah, go pet him.
Tofu, it's me. Do you remember me? Tofu said yes.
Well, they can hear you.
And he's very, very friendly. Most people don't realize that turkeys are very social animals. So, as your mom probably saw, he will follow us usually all over the property. He's just struggling to relearn how to get up and down that step again. Yeah, so when we try and get donations, most people think that it's really easy because we're a nonprofit and an animal rescue and a free youth mentorship program, but it's really not easy to get donations.
So you were saying that at Cornell, tell me the Cornell story.
Yep. When we have an animal that's sick and you take them up to Cornell, a lot of people will think that you might get a discount, but you actually have to pay up front or they won't take the animal in at all.
And like we were saying, that it's one of those things that they're absolutely phenomenal there, but they get so many rescues that they just can't.
Yes,
it's not
yeah.
that they wouldn't want to, it's just
right,
that they can't.
yep, and that's what they're in the business for. And
yeah.
If everybody's asking, they can't help everybody. So
right. Okay, so which ones are those?
Yep, you got Roxas.
Oh my gosh, she just jumped up at me.
This
Hello.
is Abel. He's
Hello,
the
Abel.
friendliest. And yeah, we picked that name too because Cain was the mean one. So
Cain's mean.
And not that he's mean, but he's the dominant one, and that's why he's so fat, because he eats all the food first.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. When you were saying that the kids pick an animal, what do they do with the animal?
Yep. If they're working with the small animals, it might be the goats, they'll take them for a run down to the river, they'll brush them. With the pigs have harnesses, certain ones, and they'll walk them down to the river and the pigs go swimming. The alpacas have a harness and they walk them around. And then if they choose to work with the horses, that is your basic horsemanship program. So they're learning to groom, halter, lead, walk, and eventually ride.
Now, how do you feel that it makes a difference? Like, how does it change the child?
Yep. For an example, we had a little girl who lives with her grandparents, and she comes from severe neglect and abuse. And she didn't smile. She was very timid, and for the first 2 years worked with just the goats and the birds and the smaller animals. And this past year she was able to, she comes out of her shell, she's running around smiling, she grabbed the horse, she leads the horse around on her own, walking the horse through the obstacle course, and her demeanor is just totally different than it was 2 years ago. She also now, she's been talking with her psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist wants to know how come she's starting to show empathy, and she wants to take care of her little sister, and so her emotions are starting to open up, and they're able to connect where she was totally disconnected from any relationship or any emotion within herself until this program.
So it started with the safeness of an animal,
Yes,
because the
safeness of
animal
the
can't
animal,
hurt
yeah.
you the way a person can.
Yeah, she started with the birds. Literally, it was the birds, and that was her go-to. So.
Wow, that's beautiful. Look at, here comes Tofu.
Oh, he's got
Hi, Tofu.
And towards the end of June, they'll be getting sheared.
Do you
They
do
get
anything
sheared.
with their?
Yep, that's the one where I know who's the lunch lady. Tina, the lunch lady. She took some fiber and she did some knitting and crocheting. So what we did this year was our first year. We had their fiber turned into yarn, and then we asked for volunteers to come forward to knit or crochet different items, and then we'll sell them.
So by somebody coming forth, a volunteer coming forth and knitting
Yep.
something that you can sell, then it just puts more money back into the farm.
Correct. Yeah?
So you're basically using all of the resources that you have available to you.
Yes. Yeah.
So technically, the animals are paying their rent.
Yeah. Yeah, because one of our biggest fundraisers that we do is Fun on the Farm, and that's where we'll do pony rides, face painting, and it's really about people coming on the property and seeing the animals and touring. And
That's great. Oh, so what makes how many hours a week do you work here? Or how many hours a day would you say that you work?
Oh my goodness, it's nonstop. It's literally from sun up to sundown, because what a lot of people don't realize is after we have 40 animals that we care for, so you've got twice a day that you're feeding, making sure bedding done and all that stuff. Usually Mondays it takes me all day just to do all the cages inside, because we do exotics and stuff. But then on top of it, you've got the nonprofit behind it. So you've got all the fundraising, the social media, the paperwork that has to be done for the nonprofit, phone calls, emails. I've got 3 different email addresses with hundreds of emails in there, so I've got to categorize all of them, get back to people. It's insane. It's literally 24/7, to be honest with you.
Now Raven told me that one time there was the pig that needed help in the middle of the night. What was the story you told me about the pig in the middle of the night?
I don't remember.
Probably just you waking up for Ruby.
Yeah, she said
Oh,
that
yeah,
the pig.
Ruby.
You said that the pig was crying in the middle of the night or something.
Oh
You were
yeah,
up with her.
she's a baby, so she wakes me up during the night, like at 4 a.m., and I have to feed her all day.
And
every
Raven is a
time.
full-time high school student, so you really are doing this full-time.
Yes. Oh
And
yeah.
then
It's
some.
100%.
So why do you do it? I mean, why would somebody want to work probably 20 out of 24 hours with interruption and sleep and everything?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yep. And we don't get paid for it or anything. God asked me to do it, and I said yes, and that's it. Basic.
And you feel like you're making a difference in the life of people and the community and everything else.
Yep. Absolutely. We have
Okay.
a special needs volunteer program where special needs adults and youth come with mentors from other agencies, and I train them on different chores, and then they can come on their own weekly and they do different chores, and then they get to socialize with the animals. And one of the chores is we have a girl with her mentor come and they clean out the pig pen area. Some of them do goat stalls or work with the birds and stuff. So it's something to give them a purpose where they can't get a job elsewhere. So
Nice.
So what do I do? I just kind of go in.
yep, just pick her up like you would a small dog, same type of thing.
Touch me 100 pounds.
Oh, God. Okay.
Okay.
Just,
So Laura, based on what you know about Dorothy Day, how do you feel that Purpose Farm fulfills her Catholic spirituality mission?
Well, the Purpose Farm carries out the mission by bringing in youth who need they get form relationships with the animals, and they get to work with the animals, and that fulfills her mission of taking care of people who need assistance. And so the animals benefit and the people also benefit.
Beautiful.
So, Catherine, how do you think Purpose Farms fulfills Dorothy Day's mission on community, conscience, and works of mercy?
I think Purpose Farm is the epitome of Dorothy Day's mission on fulfilling those things. Because one, as far as community goes, Purpose Farm does outreach to the community by helping those that are in need in the community. First, they're caring for God's creation. God created all of these animals. They all have a special purpose, and they're loved by God just as we are. So with the work that they do here, they're fulfilling God's mission and the mission of Dorothy Day, and to be able to take care of these animals and give them a home and give them a refuge, give them a sanctuary. As far as what these animals do, is they bring out what's inside a person that the person's been afraid to let out because of abuse and because of neglect and because of having parents that have drug addictions. There's no such thing as trust in the lives of those children. But what Purpose Farm does is they have the kids connect with the animals, and when they learn to trust an animal, then everything can flow from it. And that is fulfilling the corporal and spiritual works of mercy, because they're doing for others. And then it's exponential. These kids are transformed, and in their transformation, they're able to live lives in service to others as well. So then consciousness. Purpose Farm is very conscious of the plight of those that are marginalized. Marginalized as far as they're not getting the love and the nurturing that they receive. But these animals weren't getting the love or the nurturing that they needed to receive either. So together, all needs are being met. And in doing so, everybody's life is changed, the life of the animal and the life of the children. What Purpose Farm is doing here is a phenomenal thing, and Dorothy Day would be extremely proud.